Greetings everyone, this is Lodrik and this is a game war in the Pacific, and today we will check turn number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. 11th December 41. No. And this is the turn after the rerun of the Lexington task force issue, more or less, yeah. So last turn was a very successful submarine turn for both sides. I lost 2 of my good cargo ships, but my submarines also damaged or sunk many allied tanker, troop transport ships, everything, and even a destroyer minesweeper, and I think a British destroyer. So more military equipment for the allies gets lost here. We can also see that a Chinese unit enter north of Vietnam, and so maybe the Chinese try to conquer Vietnam like many years later, and in reality the Vietnamese won this war. I mean, it was not really a war but a battle. So we will see if now this Vietnamese-Japanese army can push back the Chinese. So the Allies submarines still trying to attack, and luckily only some unsuccessful attack on my destroyers. So maybe the submarines still consume more and more of their torpedoes. Now, I think last turn I already hit I don't know more, but it was other British destroyer. Now it's a Vendetta. So from the British 4 destroyers, or 3 British plus 1 Australian destroyer, is not more much left. And there's some sinking sound, so but here in this case the attack on the PC failed. Naja, it's always hard to attack this kind of convoy escort ships. Too small, too fast. One hit on my submarine, so maybe the allied sub hunter getting slowly the situation under control. So I don't know how long I can stay with my submarines nearby. And again, this is now a Dutch submarine hitting my cargo ships. I don't like it, but what I can do. So far the cargo ship is at least not sunk immediately. And I'm only 1 hex away from a port, so there's a chance that I can maybe bring this ship in the port and fix it. Maybe. So here's a light cruiser. And I get 1 torpedo hit with explosion and mid damage. Not damage to engine, but at least damage to the ship. So if I'm lucky, this have some flotation damage and will slow down. 1 torpedo hit is of course not enough to sink a light cruiser, but forced to return to port and fix the damage, or slowly try to arrive in Colombo, or maybe go to Rangoon. But I don't think that Rangoon has a shipyard, so I don't know where I can fix this kind of damage. So pre-invasion, so this is preparation for my invasion, and bringing more units here on the shore, trying to stabilize the situation. Philippines units, I think, would similar to Chinese units. They are okay for defense operation, but not the best for really striking. They have simply no morale, so I think they fail often if they want attack to enter the combat. More bombardment. With a little more damage. So we have here some engagement or some situation, but so far no battle starts at night, so maybe at daytime now. So here's only a small American patrol ship. Don't know what is exactly this is. AVP. So, but nothing happened. Both task forces tried to avoid this. But now we find the Boise. So the Boise is here, and here's my support carrier division. Of course, this is not what I hoped for. I mean, I sent my carriers here to hunt down the Boise and support also my landing I plan here in this hex. That the Boise is in the same hex now is of course a little unlucky. But I can hope that my heavy cruiser can force the Boise to break this engagement. But I get here some damage on my light cruiser, my light carrier. Also my heavy cruiser gets here some 6-inch, but normally 6-inch are not so powerful to really damage a heavy cruiser. And I land 7 hits on the Boise, but most of this Boise also... My 5-inch shells from the light cruisers and from the carriers are not normally strong enough to really damage the Boise, so... But my heavy cruiser make 2 or 3 8-inch shell hits, so the Boise is now crippled for sure. But Rio is also not more in a good shape, I would say. So now we have here a Dutch submarine against a Japanese Shishi patrol boat. But in this case, Shishi patrol boat land at least one critical hit on the submarine and it's now heavily damaged. So, and the submarine is forced to surface. And then maybe... hard to say if it's really killed. It's no official dead. And no sinking sound, so... But maybe so heavily damaged that it will sink soon or later. Again, nothing happened here. And here's the Chicago. If I would have here now a torpedo hit on the Chicago, I would say nice. But no, of course, the biggest ship escaped my submarine attack. Naja. At least no damage for my submarine. So here's 3 heavy cruisers or even more. Naja. After so many successful attacks of my submarines, the heavy cruiser can escape. Tja. More sighting, so at least looks like that my torpedo bombers are in the air. So my carriers still can operate airplanes. So there is a Allied task force near to Rabaul, but somehow they don't come close and try to engage my landing forces. That is maybe good, and depending on how strong is this Allied forces. Maybe it's also only a cargo ship task force. Then of course it makes sense that they don't try to engage with me. So now we have this air missions, and this is the second day of my attack on Clarkfield airfield, and maybe less Allied interceptors now in the air. Still many P-35s. I don't know if it makes sense to bring P-35s to engage with Zeros, but I mean, if the Allies player has nothing else, then of course he must use it. So at this time the Zeros completely can hold the line and no enemy fighters is able to attack my Bettys. So I have here maybe some damage by flak, but not much more. So no, and this time more important is no Zeros destroyed. But my bombing strike also led, or missing now is really the punching power. Originally I think I had here 27 bombers, now only 12 today, so I maybe must maintenance my airplanes first and maybe try after 2 days again. But I won't normally keep the pressure on the airfield, so yeah. So second strike with even less forces, but also less interceptors. Again, my Zeros hold the ground, but I don't know if 10 bombers can really do much more. Naja, at least if I can kill one Catalina on the ground, it's always good. Now we have the support bombardment in China. And my float planes get the first bomb hit, even if it's only some small disabled units. Nothing critical, but always in support for the ground forces. And a little, these are now Chinese P-40Es. So the airframe is good and the pilots are maybe not the best. Because these are not flying Tigers, so these are not American pilots, these are now Chinese pilots. And I don't know. I think these Chinese pilots have the same skill level like Dutch pilots. And like I said, I think last time, Dutch pilots are maybe the worst pilots in the game. But somehow I lost one of my light bomber Sonias. Not that I really care that I lose a Sonia. But I also only can inflict small damage here. No we'll lose, no we'll win. Now I have a Dojo cell for escort, and this is of course another level of punching power. I checked again, so this Dojo type, this pre-production prototype, they have already 2 heavy machine guns and 2 light machine guns. Not so strong like a Zero, but enough for many airplanes to get a kill. And these P-40s are dying, but the main reason is maybe really that the Chinese have no good pilot training. So maybe not the best bombardment, but if I can kill 1 or 2 of these Chinese P-40s, there are not many P-40s in China. So if the Allied player not brings these flying tigers to China, then there's not really much what the Chinese can use. And they have a lot of I-16 and maybe I-15. But this kind of airplanes are no match at all for Japanese Oscars, Zeros something, or Tojos. And even a Ki-27 can fight at the same level like I-15, I-16. And the Japanese pilots have more skill, so now I have a little more air defense in Aishang. Maybe a little late, but it was simply not really possible to put faster more here. So I can maybe damage a little more of this bomber units. I can really not kill them. I can only damage them and hope with the damage it's enough to create an operational loss. And I can here damage some airplanes at least, and the bombardment strike is at the end not successful. Some Catalinas and Zeros, this is of course, I would say, good, but the Catalinas are too fast. Or, yeah, my Zeros cannot come in position. But the Catalinas fail to score a hit. Not like at the 8th of December. So Jochen used really a lot of his luck at this second turn. And now it's back to... the Americans, they can try. But more than try, it is not. Some wildebeest, this is normally now easy killing for me if I can come in position. And yeah, looks like I can kill 2 or 3 of them. And this is now the first time that I have some cap fighters in my airbase, because every day these B-17s are coming here, try to attack my port, and every day I lost 1 or 2 small ship here. Not really much value, but at least they're coming, so I bring some fighters here in position, even if they are only cloud fighters. Maybe they can force the B-17s to return. You can see only 3 really finish the attack, when all the others they hit damage or some other issues and return. So not really many damage, but still enough to completely disable this attack. This is the first day I don't have any hit on my ships. So now the Japanese dive attack, but some Dutch demons trying to cover the task forces, but the demon is completely outclassed, no chance of getting zero. And the skill level difference is too high. So some cargo ships, but not that I really hit always something. So out of 3 cargo ships I only can create 1 hit again. I mean, 1 bomb hit is enough to create big fire or heavy fire, but still out of 11 dive bombers only 1 hit is normally not the best. So now going for this small Dutch APs. I think they have a value of 4 or 5, so not the best target, but at least 2 of 3. Out of 3, 2 are killed. Whoa, will die soon. Yeah, acceptable. So my airstrike against the Boise, and they we have immediately hit penetration, explosion of ammunition, and the explosion of ammunition is something like a critical hit and will create a lot of damage. So the Boise is dead. I mean, if they're making a new game, of course, would be nice if you have something like this critical hit magazine explosion, a little more feedback to, because it's not happened really so often. And if it's happened, it would be a nice effect. So Boise is dead for sure. At least this is now certain. So Catalina's trying again. And so early in the war, the first week of the war more or less, I still have not enough zeros, and I mean I have some in pool, but I was not able to upgrade the units. So I will still fight here with cloud fighters, but normally all carriers must as soon as possible upgrade to zeros. There's simply too big gap between an A5 and an A6. The A5 can really only try to damage something, and by luck maybe create a kill. And one more bomb hit will maybe really make the situation here critical, but luckily Dutch pilots simply have really no training, so all this bombardment is so far no success. We can also see that these bombardments are all low level attack. And not only low level attack, I would say, they are also low level attack and long range attack. So now originally this bomber have 3 bombs, but now he's down to only 1 bomb. Of course low level attack have a high chance to attack, but low level attack always suffer short range flak. So even if the Japanese don't have really the best flak, if you make low level attack you can use everything what you have. So all this strike forces gets normally damaged at least. And if a bomber formation without escort attacking 0 covered forces, again with low level attack, they must come through first, and against zeros it's not really possible. So this attack is completely broken. At least 5 are killed. Here the Dutch have buffaloes for protection, but if a buffalo is now really really big help, it's hard to say. In this case it was enough to bring the bombers through, and the next attack, but also the next failure. But not really anything happened here. So only 1 bomb, and the 250 kilogram, these are not even kilogram, these are only pounds. So even if this bombs hit, will maybe not create too much damage. But if the Hiryu is already on fire, then maybe this will be changed to heavy fire. And this is and really maybe enough to stop all flight operations. So far, the Hero can operate the torpedo bombers and the cloud fighters. And here we can kill some more of these Dutch long-range Navy bombers. So one ship go down, but this is not the Japanese, at least this time. So we have here this airstrikes on my submarines, and similar to my airstrikes on the submarines near Saigon. Not really successful. It's simply very hard to attack a submarine so early on in the war. But I think latest in 43 this will change. So more attacks on my carrier. No kill, but a failure in the attack. Again, if a bomber have no escort, then at least my interceptors can get immediately on the bombers and make it much more unlikely that the attack is successful in any way. And my flag always helps to at least damage everything. Okay, and here we have a land attack from far away because it's a long range now. So maybe from Port Moresby. Maybe there are some Hudsons. I don't know where else. So all this Dutch Air Force wasn't able to really create anything. Let's see if my Japanese Air Force can do something. So here are some EOs. And I can get rid of 2 of these AOs and 1 PG is a little damage. AOs are always good because they can refuel a task force in open sea. A tanker can do this only in the harbor. So again, oh, my cargo ship. This Dutch subs are really my poor cargo ship. Damage to engine is always shitty because it will slow down my ship immediately, and it's heavy damage and on fire. Yeah. So nothing really happens here. So additional forces landing in Iba to maybe make sure, I mean, of course, to help the defense. And if I can hold this turn, this hex, then I think my tank forces coming from the north can link up. And even if I lose this battle in this hex, then my forces can retreat and not get completely destroyed and drive back in the sea. So Lingarian is now under Japanese control, so I link up with my forces in Iba, and I can even destroy, no, not really destroy, but I think there's not really much more left. So here's a Japanese, Chinese war area, but only the war area without anything else. So, and oh yeah, nothing really happened here. Miri, this is no real big surprise, but I take the base, no losses. The Allied forces is luckily destroyed and not run away, so a clean Swiss victory. So this is now the second or third battle of Iba. Luckily I was able to bring additional forces here. Without additional forces is maybe not so certain if I can hold here. The Philippine infantry unit is normally not so important. They are only good in defense, but the tank forces are, they have maybe power. So you can see that the Philippine units, they're breaking. The tank forces not, but this is attack is a failure. 1 to, so defender have 2 to 1. I can the Philippine attack value drop from 309 to 127, and I can increase my defense power. So clear a message that the Philippines still really not good enough to attack something. So this is the end of the turn. So okay, so end of the turn. The most important is maybe the killing of the Boise, but let's see. So first, the air war was a. I think the air war was a success. I mean, 27 air kills to only 1 air losses, and even destroyed on the field some, and higher losses, losses for Jochen. So the air war was today in clear favor for Japan. 10 to 1 kill ratio. If I can keep up like this, I think in 1 month or 2 months, Allies have no airplanes left. Of course, yeah, many of these destroyed airplanes are Dutch or second line American, so not really anything was with value what I kill here for me. But what I can get, what I can kill today, I don't much fear tomorrow. And every P40 less in Philippines is always good. And Catalinas to kill, especially this Type 4 with torpedo attack capacity is. I like to get rid of them. So, and from these 4 pilots, I have only 1 killed and 1 wounded. Okay. So I have an ace, already 2 aces now. They both belonging to a hero carrier. These are the 0 pilots. I mean, you can see with 80, you're expert. You're really, you know what you're doing. So what else I can say? Ship sunk. Last turn. Nothing. So of course the Boise sunk. And I don't know why the game don't say the Boise sunk, because the Boise sunk last turn. But this was of course wrong information, but my pilots saw that the Boise go down, so I don't know why. But it is like it is. Official. Because Japanese. I must go to this. Okay, that makes sense. So Boise is now official, really dead. I mean, last turn it was fake news, but now it is real. The Dutch sub with heavy damage is dead or will die soon. I only get rid of 1 small AP for sure, but maybe 2-3 more are damaged, and also some AOs was burning, so they are dying the next 2 turns, I think. The Mauritius, I think, is only damage, not even heavy damage, but damage. 1 torpedo would be a super lucky explosion hit, magazine explosion hit, then maybe 1 torpedo, but in this case I think only maybe damage 1 month in shipyard or 2 months in shipyard, something like this. Oh, okay, so this is the statistic from last turn. In China, I think there was not much more. I still block here the main way and try to get rid of this. I also try to follow up this retreating Chinese forces to get these 2 cities. It's always nice to have this, but this all needs time. Also here in the center. So I left my hex here, Aichang, I give up because it's nearly impossible to defend it. And nothing more here. China is still slow. Nothing really happened in China. Because the Chinese forces enter here north of Vietnam, and there's a rule in the game. If the Chinese conquer here and attack Vietnam, then some local support units. Not this one. This one. So I have here Vietnamese militia support units. Not the very strong units, but it's for free. And you can see it's this is a basic with 62 attack value, and but you can get here much more out of this. So it's for free, and why not? I can maybe use this to strike back the Chinese, and they belong to the Southern Army, so they are free. I can use them everywhere I want. But they are hard to reinforce because they have this special troop types. They are not really Japanese units, they are Vietnamese. So my 15th army is on the way still, and next turn I arrive in Singora, and then I can maybe unload these forces, and then I can go more south. Or I wait here and wait. I normally must take Taiping. Because this railway is blocked completely, impossible, and this is, we will see. Most important is I block here the road, and looks like not that Jochen try here anything, so I can bring my Mersing army to Johor Bahru, and then maybe attack his forces and completely make sure that Singapore never can get any reinforcements more. So somewhere here was this light cruiser, but I have no detection more. Here is the same still. I have still detection of many task forces, most is cargo. Here's one light cruiser maybe. So I try to damage them. If I can sink them, I'm not so sure, but I can try. So maybe some information about this damaged light carrier. So this you can see. So my light carrier is only no heavy damage. So I can fix this in every port if I have time. But the hit on my heavy cruiser was somehow lucky. Because normally 6-inch cannot really penetrate an armor of 100 millimeters so easily. But I really have here engine damage. And some even major flotation damage. And for this I must go to a shipyard. So maybe I have to return to Hong Kong. I think Hong Kong is the next shipyard I can, after I take Hong Kong. But time to retreat and reorganize some forces. I must let my submarines try to stop here the big shipping. I mean, I can never control the sea with submarines, but at least I can slow down everything. So I have here the link up operation, so these Philippine forces can normally only fall back to Clark Field. But my attack value is too small with 800. I need normally 1,500 to attack Clark Field, because this is triple defense, and normally the Americans have here roughly 500 to 800 attack value, so they can have easily 1,500 defense power. So I need at least 1,500 or more. But I try to bring here in more forces. So my forces also arrive in Hong Kong, so next turn I take Hong Kong, and then maybe I can take it if I'm lucky. And here is I don't know, here's a task force, but this task force was not engaging me, so maybe it's only cargo and must fall back because cannot fight with my units here. So not much more to say. Always one-day turns have not too much impact on the game, but we will see over time how this unfolds. Thank you all. See you. Bye bye. Take care.